Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're consuming this podcast from. Welcome to another episode of Startup Confessions with Jesse. And I have a very important guest in the house today. I have Mark Mina in the house. Honestly, it's a privilege to have him in the house today. And I can't tell you how excited I am to have him because I have a bunch of questions to ask him and a lot of things to learn. And I'm very, very sure everybody's going to learn a thing or two from today's conversation. So we have Mark here. Let me give you a big breakdown before Mark takes the stage because I know Mark has a lot of things to share with us. Mark is the CEO and the founder of EZ Tek Solutions, a fast growing managed IT and cybersecurity firm serving over 50 businesses across Southern California. Wow, amazing, man. I can't really say a lot about him. I'll let him say the rest. But all I can say is that Mark has a lot to impact in us, being a founder and going through, several aspects of life and, you know, the good sides and the bad sides of business. And I was going to your bio just, a few minutes ago, and I could really see something like a burning fire from your bio. I will leave that for everybody to see it with you. So, Mark, you have the stage. It's nice having you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's an honor. Um, so yeah, I founded EZ Tek Solutions 5 years ago. I it was a I was working two jobs at the time, right? As I experimented with such a thing, I had a kid at the time, so you can't really quit your job and take risk at all. So you have to be a little bit more strategic. Um, and over time, things, there's a lot of ups and downs that
Yeah.
we'll talk about. Even moments where you want to give up and walk away, and then things turn around. You give it one last chance. And I remember seeing this episode. I think it was either on Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or something like that. It reminded me of, like, you just give it one more push, give it one last push, and then give up. You're right. And that's when
Yeah.
usually things change.
All right. So before we go straight into the business of the day, I would like you to give us, a brief breakdown of who you really are, what inspired you to start off EZ Tech Solutions. Just give us a background.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about me. I'm a husband and a father of three, and I have two dogs. So
Amazing.
we are a busy household. And I was a troublemaker growing up, and I did what I wanted to do, and nobody can tell me anything. And what I ended up getting myself into a lot of trouble and having to figure things out on my own, starting at the age of 18, right? And so I never went to college. I didn't have that. It wasn't on my path, if you will, or journey. And so I always worked
Yeah.
for law firms. I was a case manager. I was a paralegal. I did all aspects of it, to a point where I was doing operations. And then I realized, without a college education, uh, some
Yeah.
positions are capped, some industries are capped. And really, my passion has always been technology because it's moving at a rapid pace. It's constantly challenging you because it's bringing up different ways and new ways to do things. And so I
Yeah.
decided, at the time I was a single father, I decided to leave the legal industry. I started working for a nonprofit where I was working like half the hours, and I was able to kind of recalibrate myself and figure out what it is that I really wanted to do. At After that, about 4 years into it, I realized I want to start my own business and I want to be in tech. Tech is where everything is going. Everything we do today relies on technology. And so a buddy of mine and I started EZ Tech Solutions in January of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And we were trying to figure out the kinks and all of that. And so that was where the journey started for us. Uh, and it was the first year or two were ups and downs. Year three was a little bit of
Yeah.
stabilization, and we'll go into that a little bit more. Today, let's fast forward, right? 5 years later, not only am I the CEO and founder of EZ Tech Solutions, but I'm also the CTO for a large law firm in here in Los Angeles. And so uh, I get a
Wow.
dual perspective for the clients we support and things like that. It is a busy life. I couldn't do it if it wasn't for my wife, but yeah, we're in it. We're in it to win it.
Amazing, amazing. Honestly, I can't agree more because I'm also married. I'm married, I got kids, and to be honest, I know what it means to raise a family and also grow a business. And it's something that is a beautiful experience, by the way.
Yep.
So I'd like you to give us that time. I want you to share a bit about 2023. That time, when you had that, that time you were like, I'm done.
Yep.
Share a bit of it,
Yeah.
and we'd like to learn from that.
So I'm gonna kind of give you some headway, a little bit of like backstory to where we got in 2023.
Hmm.
So in 2020, we started the business with a business partner. In June of 2020, things were really we weren't getting any clients. Thankfully, we were both still working regular jobs. Um, we go through the pandemic. We don't really make a lot of money. It was like a trial run. We're still trying to
Hmm.
figure our packages up and our stack and things like that. Get into 2021, I realized I needed it was getting tough, right? We were we wanted to quit our job because it was starting to get a little bit busier where you couldn't really handle both at the same time. And in 2022, in early 2021, my partner and I ended up breaking up and going our separate ways, from a business standpoint. So that was rough. That cost
Oh,
me money. So that was an impact on a company that wasn't really bringing in revenue. In
okay.
April of 2022, the business had grown to the point where you're either this is a side gig and it's going to stay that way, or I quit my job and I focus 100% on the business and we go all in. Talk to my wife about it. Single owner, right? We're deciding on our own, and we decided we're going to quit our job. I'm going to quit my job and we're going to go all in, and she's going to maintain her job, um, for the time being. We go through.
Yeah.
We're making ends meet barely, right? Some months are slow, some months are not. I'm working 18 hours a day trying to build the business, from marketing to actually troubleshooting to going to conferences, right? Things like that, trying to get awareness. And it stayed like that for about 18 months, right? So we're now in August of 2023, and the constant argument at home was, I can't keep living like this. I've never had to like figure out which bill we're going to pay and which one we're going to wait on and things like that, right? The struggles of a startup. And I
Yeah.
told her, just hang tight. I promise it's worth it. I promise it's worth it. In August, I was feeling beat up. We weren't really getting, we had it'd been a while since we've gotten any new clients. And I felt like everything I was putting into it, we were dipping into our savings. The well was starting to dry up. And so I told myself, okay, there's a couple conferences that we already paid for that were coming up, in September, October, and November. And there were some events that we had already signed up for as sponsors. So we're going to let's ride the rest of the year out and see what happens. And in August was when I decided, if change doesn't happen by January of 2026, we're going to walk away. I'm going to go apply for jobs. We're going to try to get a regular job again. Um, and I go to these conferences and I'm putting in a lot of energy. One of them, I was so tired, I didn't even want to go to the last event, the last networking opportunity. And something said, just go, just find the energy, get over there, do it. Right. It was in Vegas. If anyone's been to Vegas, it is exhausting. Um, so I decided, all right, I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to go to this last networking event and let's see what happens. And I don't know if it was that moment or what happened after that, but that's when I met a potential client, that basically almost, I don't want to say started the snowball effect, because we ended up landing a few clients before we closed that deal. But it almost felt like that moment in time is when the light switch turned from off to on, or the hose started, water started flowing, and we started getting leads, legitimate leads into our pipeline. And that's when I started having a little bit of hope. We still got a lot of no's, Keep in mind, we still got a lot of no's, but there was traction. There was that flywheel
Yeah.
started spinning, and there was a little bit of traction, even though you were getting no's. And that's kind of one of the biggest pieces of advice for anyone that's listening, right? That I want to say is,
Mm-hmm.
just because if the flywheel's not turning, you're not having any leads, that's a bad sign. But if you have leads and you're getting no's and maybe yeses or maybes, that's a good sign, and to keep going at it, because you learn this in sales is go for no, because every 100 no, you're going to get one yes, and that one yes changes everything typically. And so I kept pushing, we kept going through the flywheel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we started closing some new clients, some small ones, some medium-sized ones, and then we finally closed one of our largest clients. And I realized I need to start hiring more people. I need to start changing the way we do things.
Yeah.
This isn't a one-man show or a two-man show or whatever it was at the time, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
started hiring, and um, it was extremely stressful, because even going into that next year, there were times where it felt like we were in a worse financial situation than we were
Yeah.
when we were a lot smaller, and I was thinking about quitting, right, and thinking
Mm-hmm.
about closing up shop. Because there were times where I'm like, man, we haven't gotten these invoices paid, but I got to run payroll for these employees,
Yeah.
and and so you end up skipping your payroll, or you end up going into your savings account and
Mm-hmm.
covering things. And so it was an interesting year, because it almost felt like we were getting that funnel, the top of the funnel that everyone talks about in startups, was finally
Mm-hmm.
getting full. All that effort that I put in from
Yeah.
2020 to 2021, all those Zoom meetings, in-person things that I went to, late nights out
Mm-hmm.
without, not being home for dinner with the family, things like that, finally started coming to fruition, and people started realizing, oh, we know who Mark is. Oh, Mark does this, right? And you become your brand starts becoming people become more aware of your brand, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Honestly, I was just meaning to ask you, how has this really shaped you? Because this is a very, 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 very crazy journey. But how has it actually shaped your mindset about life? And
so that it's funny that you say that, because I look at it now, right, and I realize where we are today is a privilege, um, and it is really because of just consistency, right? And that's what it's done for
yeah,
me, is it has helped me realize the power of consistency, the power
yeah,
of not giving up, and realizing that when things get hard,
hmm,
typically there is something good on the other end of that, right? Or something great, I should
definitely.
say. And so I always say, give me the hardest tasks. I don't want to do something easy and brainless. Give me something challenging. And so what it has turned me into, right, in the last couple years, is I have been, how there's some people that are adventure junkies. They want to jump off the top of a
Yeah.
mountain and parachute, right?
Hmm.
I'm a challenge junkie. Give me a good challenge that I'm going to have to wrap my head around over the next couple days or weeks and come up with a solution. I want to think outside the box. I want something hard to deal with, because again, nothing good comes easy. And
Definitely.
that's really, I think, how it
Nothing
has shaped
becomes
me.
easy.
Yeah.
I can't agree more because, to be honest, nothing good really comes easy. And to anybody and everybody watching right now, we must understand that consistency is the key because it's very easy to give up because I think the easiest way out is to give up, right? Especially when you have mouths to feed, you have dependents, it gets even harder as you go through. But it's something we need to put at the back of our mind. You need to keep going, you need to keep pushing. So thank you so much for explaining that. To be honest, is something that we all needed to hear. So give us a little, breakdown about, MSPs. I hear a lot about MSPs, all bringing down their values and all that. So give us a brief breakdown about that.
So MSPs are a fast growing. It's a really fast paced industry, and it's growing
Mm.
tremendously that private equity is starting to notice our industry.
Yeah.
And really what we do is we are your IT department, right? We take care of your inventory management. We take care of um, your technology, your workflows, helping you integrate tools together, or helping you realize maybe when you're overspending. Dropbox and SharePoint do the
Okay.
same thing. Why do you need both, right? Is it a preference or is it just a lack of knowledge? Um, and so that's what MSPs do. We keep you secure. We make sure that you're meeting regulations, whether that's backing up your data or things like that. And we uh, help take a load off of the business owner. A lot of our clients are people
Okay.
from one employee or one user all the way up to 180, 190 users, right? And so it doesn't matter about the size. It matters about where is your time best spent. With in the age of AI today, I can do
Okay.
I could do what a lawyer does technically, right? I'm just not licensed to be a lawyer. But is that the best use of my time, or is the best use of my time understanding or implementing technology for businesses so they can help grow? Um, we've been instrumental in helping our clients get certifications that they need from security and compliance standpoints, and help them grow. Like we had a client that started with us at 4 employees. Today, they're at
Wow.
30 employees. And that was over the course of 2 years because we were able to deal with things that they don't need to deal with. You worry about your business and what you need to do, and let us worry about the technology that's going to support your business, right? Um, but we're all nerds, and some of us don't want to get out and go and talk to people and be out there at those networking events. And I think that's what makes MSP's growth so challenging unless you have private equity backing or, a full-blown sales team or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Listening to you, an idea just popped into my head, and it's all about solving problems. You know, leaving the founders and the CEOs to handle what they handle best, while we help them, manage the little things that they don't have the time to manage, right? And
Yep.
as entrepreneurs, solving problems is what gives us money.
Yep.
We
Yep.
can't make money when we don't solve problems.
Yep.
So that's one typical thing I learned from this conversation right now. You just said it right now. Solving problems makes us money. And that's what has made Mark who Mark is. So thank you so much for that. So give us a little brief breakdown on this whole AI hype. Is it really affecting the business?
So, yes and no. There is a lot of AI hype
Okay.
um, around agents, and I've automated my entire business
Okay.
behind AI, and that's not necessarily true. There are AI components of it,
Okay.
but it's no different than automation, right? A few years before AI was a thing, automation was the way you would create repetitive tasks and make them done automatically, right? AI now just
Yeah.
gives it a little bit more context, a
Hmm.
little bit more flavor, and it allows you to have more variables, right? When you're creating your automation.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
reality is I use AI every single day in my uh, day to day. And the reason I do is because it helps me think about things differently. It challenges my biases. So if you're using it in a way to give you superpowers, great. I do not think, right, at least in this moment in time or the next at least 3 to 5 years, that it is going to massively take away jobs. The people losing their jobs, I know of a company, for example, that just laid off 11,000 people. When you go in and you look at
Yeah.
why they laid people off and you have a conversation about it with the management team, it is people that have refused to use AI in their daily job. Um, are not using it. They're telling you they are, but when you look at the data and you look at the usage, they're not actually using it, right? And so people will be replaced by people who use AI today. Um, Even in our own business, right? Struggles of a founder. I'm looking at the tools we use and I'm like, well, this company, we've been using them for 2 years now, and they haven't had any update that has any sort of AI injection that will help us do our job better. So what am I doing as a business owner? I'm looking for another software provider or vendor that is
Yeah.
using AI or allows me to integrate my AI tools into their products so that I can actually do things faster, more efficiently, things like that. Um, so I think there's a little bit of hype, but there's also how are you using it and what are you trying to get it to do? If you're trying to get it to create a whole automated business for passive income, that's hype. That's not real, in my opinion. If you're trying to have it help you be more efficient, then yes, that is real. It is absolutely helpful. We actually do a AI learning lab that's on our YouTube and monthly. And so we just finished our last session about how to use ChatGPT projects, how to build a custom GPT, and it's really designed for our clients and the professionals. How do you get AI to help you build something that's going to make things more automatic? For example, an accounting
Okay.
team we created help them create a custom GPT that will take emails as a PDF for check requests and put them all together in a spreadsheet so that they can upload it into their accounting system and process the check request as a batch. Um, those are real things that saves hours of time from a data entry person. That's that's
Yeah.
that's also basically automation, just using AI to actually pull the data that you needed to pull without having to like draw boxes around it and use hard programming.
Yeah. So honestly, I can't agree more because I'm also into automations. I'm a Go high level expert. I help
Yeah.
build workflows, I help with automation. So I completely understand what you're saying. But then I want to ask you a question that's pretty much not exactly part of what I wanted to tell you, but I want to find out, do you really think AI is going to take off jobs in the next 10 years?
It's going to change the jobs. So um, let's look at the Industrial Revolution, right? We went from farming to power engines and industrial tool sets and stuff like that.
Hmm.
The dot-com era went from industrial jobs to office and white collar jobs, right? This is just
Yeah.
another evolution that's going to happen. So, yes, I do think it's going to take away jobs. For example, I don't need my assistant to go through my emails because I could use AI to get through my emails, right? Much
Yeah.
faster, and it's going to learn faster than having my assistant. But that doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of my assistant. It means now I can have them do more valuable things, right? For example, my AI can get through my emails. I need you to get me this data from the team or create this dashboard for me of data that I need to see as a company. Follow up with these people to figure out why haven't we gotten an answer from them or whatever it is, right? So the
Hmm.
idea is it will take away tasks, but I don't think it's going to take away jobs. And what we do with that free time is what's going to make it critical for us over in the long run.
Yeah. I can't agree more.
Now, if you
Honestly,
ask me
I feel, I
about
feel,
20
I
years
feel, I
from
feel
now,
like it's not. I feel like it's not going to take off jobs, but I still have that feeling somewhere inside that it might take off a lot of jobs in the next 15 years, that so many people will be out of jobs. And you have so many CEOs and founders using AI to run their systems and everything. And then they have just two employees somewhere, helping them feed one or two things. So I feel like AI is good. I also feel like AI is bad. I don't know if that makes sense.
well, it does, but it's also going to create a lot of jobs. And let me an example. We need a lot more electricians to help us build data
Mhm.
centers that power AI. Those are we need
Okay.
hundreds of thousands of people helping build that, right? So it's going to create some construction jobs. It's going to create administrative jobs for those things, right? To develop that infrastructure that we need because we have a massive infrastructure problem. Um, this is a little controversial, so I'm just going to say it in one sentence. I do think that in 15 or 20 years, we're going to start seeing the conversation around uh, universal basic income. And because AI is doing more and more work, that revenues are higher, profits are higher, you're going to see a little bit more of profit sharing, a little bit more of universal income to supplement that, because now instead of you're going to hire me, but I'm going to send, this is like really far in the future, but I'm going to send my AI to do it, right? Someone has to get paid for that at some point, right? Some way, shape, or form. And
Definitely.
I think that's where the future is going.
I don't know what I'll say, but I just hope, people don't get to lose their jobs, because, the world has moved like this for quite a while. And I feel like a lot of people who have not grown mentally, to adopt AI are still struggling right now. You can't believe me that someone can't use Chat GPT in this age and time. You-
Oh, I believe you.
It's crazy. So it's crazy. Someone can't use Chat GPT, and these are the people that are going to lose their jobs. Definitely going to lose their jobs. So
But
that
I
one, I
also
believe.
think, yes, but I also think that these same people that are having a hard time using ChatGPT today, for example, over time, it's going to be easier to use these tools. Like a perfect example is today, to get a really good response, you have to have a really good prompt. And that prompt can be one
Yeah,
page, it could be several paragraphs, right? And so that's not easy for anyone to do. You have to really sit down and be thoughtful about it. As AI
yeah,
advances, it will become easier to use, that it will be easier to adopt. There's a adoption track that we talk about in as founders and for startups, right? That you have your early adopters, you have your experimenters, then you have your early
yeah,
adopters, then you have the regular adopters, then everyone else, those late
yeah,
bloomers come into play. And by then, the
yeah,
technology becomes so much easier. When iPhones came out, a lot of people didn't were hesitant to move from their regular phones to iPhones, right? And that's because it was too hard to use. Today, people have a hard time using any other phone but an iPhone, right? Or an Android, because it's become the norm and it's become so much easier to use. And I think that's where the the trends will move.
yeah.
So but it's
I agree. 100%.
yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
100%. I agree. So just give us an advice. Talk to someone who is a startup who is looking forward to opening, starting up something big, and give him an advice based on your own experience.
So start small, stay small as much as you possibly can. Uh, when you're
Okay.
going through it, don't think about how you're doing things today. Think about how you're going to do things when you have employees. So that's advice number one, maybe
Oh,
number one and
that's
two.
that's that's very
Number,
valuable.
I'm going to give you about four things that any startup or anyone that's looking to start a business up should think about. Number two is when you're putting together, you got to do market research. People are not just going to buy your product. People will buy what they need, right? At that moment in time. So if there's no need and you're artificially saying there is a need because five of your friends said, yeah, they would buy into it, doesn't mean the masses will buy into it. So do market research. Number three, don't give up and stay consistent. Number four, get out from behind the desk, stop working in the business and start working on the business. Meaning, as I got busier, as we continued to grow, the first position I hired was an assistant in the Philippines for $6 an hour. And that assistant took a load off of me. They answered phones, they did things. And so I was able to do more work and get more capacity, bring in more clients. Then I hired a technician, and that technician took technical work off my plate, so I was able to keep going, right? And you keep adding and start delegating what is the least thing that you want to do, or the least thing that's time consuming, right? Like
Hmm.
following up with people to schedule appointments. Don't waste your time. Have someone else do that for you. And the last piece is, and I mentioned this earlier, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. So get out from behind the desk. Today's world, marketing doesn't necessarily, it's not 100% when you're trying to say, I'm just going to buy a bunch of ads and I'm going to get a bunch of clients. Some industries that works for, but the majority of them, it doesn't. And so get out, find your vertical, get into your vertical, and start asking for referrals, shaking hands, go to where your clients are. If I know my clients go to these conferences, show up to those conferences, shake hands, meet people, pass out business cards. That's how you get people to be aware of you, and that's how you'll win in the long term.
Wow. 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 I would have loved to continue, but to be honest, I've learned a lot. Time is almost running out for us. But Mark, it's been an amazing experience talking with you. And I must say, I've learned a lot personally. And I know everyone watching this show right now has learned quite a lot. And one very important part of what you just said is delegating tasks. And I feel this is something I need to re echo for everyone to hear. You can't do it alone. You have to learn to work on the business. And that starts by delegating tasks. And I can't agree more with you, Mark, about delegating tasks, right? Because if you keep doing everything yourself, you can't grow the business. Definitely. So, Mark, thank you so much for coming on this show. I wanted to continue this show, but right now, time is almost up. But I want you to tell us something. Tell us where we can find you. Are
You
you
guys
on
can
social
find
media?
me, social media, EZ Tek Solutions, or Mark_Mina for Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You'll find our AI learning labs, more content. Hopefully, you'll tag us on this, and we can repost it on our YouTube, or link back
Definitely.
to it. You can find us on Facebook, as well as we're right here in Irvine, California, but we're available for the entire U.S. We have clients all over, so. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mark. It's been amazing. And I feel so blessed to have you on the show. Honestly, I feel so blessed because I learned a lot. Thank you so much for exposing secrets to us, especially with, struggles of an entrepreneur, learning to keep being consistent, learning to, keep pushing hard until you get to where you're going to. Because no one knows. Maybe the next push will be just the breakthrough you need, right? Thank God
Exactly.
you made the move, to go for that, that program. That probably what's changed the whole game for you. So everyone must learn to keep pushing. Don't get tired. You never know. The next one could just be the breakthrough. So Mark, thank
Yep.
you so much for coming on the show. Everyone, please follow him on social media. And until next time, guys, I will see you guys. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you. Thanks,
guys.
Jesse.